shook it like this, and the magnets come flying off. Then I
We're
grabbed
live.
the new ones. I know we are. Then I grabbed the new one, but shook it, and it wouldn't come off. Look at that, Mr. Don.
Don gave away 10 memberships. Thank you, Don. Support is appreciated. And it looks like Greenleck got one. BG off 8BZ got one. Altham got one. Looks like Richard. I don't have my glasses on. KO40BR. He got one.
OBR.
Look at this. Old Kyle Craig.
Kyle
got
Craig.
One.
Yeah, he did.
And then Kenny the Dragon, Dusty Hodes. Is that what Dusty Rhodes got one? KE9CKM, Todd. KJ7JHH got one. And Chris Robinson got one. KF6 NFW.
Hey, congrats, guys. And thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Don's the man. Don's he's an instigator, man. He's trying to get me in trouble.
Well, he always is posting cool stuff that he wants us to buy.
I know.
So it's a lubrication
buy a new amp
at the A Pals.
Yeah. Is that silicone?
It's multi-purpose synthetic grease, and the other one is multi-use synthetic oil.
I need to do both of mine. It's been a while for the A1. Sometimes I just take the old grease and just push it back over because it's on there,
Yeah,
for temporary.
Well, I was cleaning mine, and there's
That's
rollers are pretty effing dirty. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, did you see they make that little thing you can print?
And you stick it on there or whatever.
I think you stick a rag on it and clean it. Yeah, we're a little early this morning, so we're just going to BS for a little bit. But man, I tell you what, I'm getting tired of building stuff, and that's you know me. I didn't eat yesterday, and I was like at wit's end. Is I just sometimes if I don't eat, I can't think, and I'm putting stuff together. I'm like, why did I put that bolt there? Because that's not where it goes, And I know all this.
Yeah, I've made a mistake. I mounted them. I took a couple boxes and I mounted the mounting lug on them, and I put it in the wrong spot.
Yeah,
like, oh man. But then when I'm done building, I test tone them all out with the multimeter, make sure everything's right.
I'll say it right now, you guys. If you're doing the ground-mounted verticals, make sure you put radios out. Believe me. I don't know what it is that's different.
Well, with the choke,
especially with the choke. The choke made it even worse. Because when I did the other one, I wasn't running a choke on it. I was just testing. I was just making sure I had all the.
Well, I already
wrung it out
with no ground. If you're a kook, if you're running a vertical with no radios.
Well, yeah, and you gotta. What I ended up doing, I was having problems yesterday. I was testing one that I put a coil in, and it was the first time I'd done the coil this way. I did Jimmy's. It was a different style, but that one just takes up too much room in the box. So I got this thing done, and it's like it's 15-1 everywhere. I mean, I thought I made a dummy lug.
You can do that too. Here is one comment I was going to mention. Eric saying which radio, all of them. So the thing is, we're going to talk about a bunch of radios today, but really they're all really good radios. You know what I mean? Like it's going to come down to like a preference kind of thing as to which one.
I'd say there's one that, and there's one I wouldn't recommend, and we'll get to that. And it's a lower end, and to me, if you're going to go lower end, buy the other one, and I will tell you which one that would be for me because it's a little more modern. One of the radios in our list is not very modern, and it doesn't include a few things, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. And for the money, the other one's more portable and more just to get you guys. Hey, stick around.
You were saying
my personal opinion, which means nothing to you guys, but I've used them all. Well, all but one.
You were saying before we started that you would just use a Hermes Light with an amp, have a clean desk for a change.
I tell you what, the Hermes Light for $400 or $500-ish, I don't know if you can get it. And then Don's got one that puts out 15 or 20 watts. Hey, that one's pretty cool. Good morning, Don. I played with all pretty pretty decent radios. I haven't got the top of the line Icom or Yaesu's, like Ape's got one of the Yaesu's, but I don't think personally it's hard to compete with that little Hermes for what it costs. I mean, for let's say it costs you $500.
Hey, 45.
When you do when you take all the noise out of that thing, a lot of them sound a little bit like underwater. They're getting pretty good on the radios. The Yaesu's are pretty good now. I don't.
Well, some of the digital processing does make it sound a little fake, and you were making a good point about the Hermes doesn't do that. Hey, Thumb.
The Hermes doesn't do that, and if you got guys with
Hey, Kelly.
S8 or maybe even 7 or better, it's like listening to FM. I can take. It's like I don't hear anything until the next guy talks, and I haven't been able. The problem is with your SDRs that are in a box, you can't manipulate them.
That drives me bonkers, but
I mean, you can, but not like you can a Flex or a Non or Hermes. I don't know what other ones are out there, but the ELAD, I tell you what, that one costs you $1,100, but you get 2 radios. You get your computer set up, or you can just take it out as a standalone, which is nowhere near what it is with the computer. And mine had something wrong with the speaker; it didn't work right, so I just disconnected it.
Oh, look, it's Temecula Dave.
Hey, welcome back.
And then we got we got Don over here he's trying to get Jimmy to spend his money. Look, be careful chatting with Don, because the next thing you know, you end up broke.
So here's the Hermes Light. It's a learning curve, though. Let me just say one more thing. That Hermes Light is a learning curve, especially for me. If I hadn't had Don to talk to, I may not like that radio, because Don helped me out a lot. It's all on the webs. So there's some setup on that radio. It's not a hook it up and start using that radio like most of your radios. Go ahead.
So here's a map of Dayton, and it highlights this little grassy knoll where we're going to be set up. It's behind the Volta building, or building number 4. In the middle is where the flagpole is, and then you see there's 3 big buildings. The one in the center, right in front of that's the pork chop stand. So if you walk straight from the pork chop stand down that thoroughfare, that's where all the food is.
That's like, where you can eat and stuff. I think
take a left. Take a left, and we're right there at the end. We're about
5 from the end.
Oh, 5 from the end.
And it's just a little below the arrow.
Yeah, down a little below that arrow is the big flea market, the boneyard, the racetrack that's fenced in. So we're kind of right there at that gate, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. I got a bunch of people sending me, "Hey, are you going to have this? Are you going to have that? Hold me one of these." I'm maintaining a little bit of a list. I'm doing my best, but
it's and we're not going to hold till Sunday. Right. If somebody wants it Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon and you haven't shown up, then
so reach out to us on Discord if you're there and you're going to stop by and there's something you want us to hold.
And make sure you keep track, because we're trying to go home with nothing.
Here's another map, just so you can see it, and we would be right under where it says TAPR Tapper. We're going to be in that flea market area right there.
And it's where the cars were on that picture.
On this one.
Yeah. A little below the arrow, but where the cars are there.
Yeah.
In the entrance to there's a couple entrances to the other, but we're kind of in between the 2 entrances to the big part, the big section.
All right, let me add this baby to the stage.
So here we go. Here we go. Now we're going to get everybody fired up, because some of us like something and some of us like something else, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so we were looking at specifically 100-watt radios that you can buy new for about $750 to $1,500. We're not calling them entry-level radios, because they're probably a little bit beyond that. But
2 of them are kind of entry-level, but they lack features.
Right. And so I would just call these mid-range HF 100-watt radios.
And I just, when I bought the FT-710, and I think
we're going to have the Wiles, the Wiles Club is going to deliver yours, Gary.
Yeah, the whole club, not just one, all of them. what he wants delivered, but
It'd be great to see you there, Jimmy. We'll put you to work if you stop.
yeah.
If you stop by.
Bye.
We'll bring some kits for
Ringing
you.
people up, man.
So go on, Chuck. Take it away.
I paid $800 for my, I think, and that was like when it first came out, which is weird because most radios, when they first come out, they don't have any discounts. I mean, I don't know the 705s ever had. I think it finally had a discount this year after the FTX1 came out. But I guess they were selling them, so they didn't need to. But and I got I didn't get the Field for 800. I got the one with the extra speaker, which I like. It sounds really well. It sounds really
You're
good.
talking about the 710.
The 710. I don't know if the guy charged me for the wrong radio or what, but because I thought it was 800 for the Field model and then 900 or so for the other one. But anyhow, good deal. The 7300's come down a little bit. It's in that 8.5 to 1,000 range, right?
Yeah.
I think.
So when you look at these radios, there's a couple of different architectures that we're going to talk about. So like 7300 is an example of what they would call a direct SDR, and that's the way the signal comes into the front end, and then it goes into the processor. They also call them low IF. So like you might see the terms direct SDR or low IF used interchangeably. And Don's talking about the OVF, the overload light on those. And the direct SDR is a little bit prone to that. So radios with that architecture will typically have that. But the things like the Hermes Light is the same architecture as I understand it. And then you have these hybrid SDRs.
Direct sampling, right?
Yeah. Yaesu does a lot of the Yaesu does both the direct and the hybrid. I like the hybrid. And then the older style is the super heterodyne with no SDR in there. And we're seeing less and less of that because they're shockingly more expensive to make. What we're starting to see is more of this hybrid SDR. I believe the G90 is a direct SDR. They're inexpensive to make, and they're good. They're good radios.
I don't know. Don says that's a good radio, Chuck, and I don't know which one he was talking about.
Well, who knows? He's talking crazy.
These are all good radios. I mean, it's all preference of what architecture you like.
All right. So I think the way we're posing the question is that if you were to wake up tomorrow with no radio, which one would you get? And then the next question is that what one would you get if they were free? Right. So if you remove cost completely from the equation. And we're going to talk about new radios and some older radios. So go back to this IC-710 is the oldest one that we have on the list. And the newest one would be the 7300 Mark II.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a little bit of a spoiler, and this is going to be my radio that I compare all the other ones to. My favorite on the list, if I didn't have a radio and I needed to get one, I'd get the FTX1 Optima. And I know that's dramatic because everyone's going to say, well, they rushed it to market a year ago. And those talk about
that doesn't make it a bad radio, though.
The APRS didn't work out of the box.
It does now.
But for me, it's kind of like the next generation. It's the first of the next generation of radios. It's small. It's modular, right? So you can take it apart and do QRP, or you can do 100-watt operation. It's shack in a box. It can do 50 watts. 50 watts on 2.70 centimeter. Has a fantastic screen on it. Has 2 antenna ports on it. 3 actually on the Optima.
3.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of features there that are pretty dang hard to beat.
Even the FT-DX10 doesn't have. It only has 1 antenna port, which is my sticking point why I didn't buy one. Although it would probably be in my house if it had 2.
Eric's asking about Kenwoods. So here's the thing: is we didn't include any Kenwoods because our cutoff was around $1,500. So,
and they're 5,900. What is it? The TS59 590. That was their radio versus the 3000, the Yaesu 3000. I don't know what. Yaesu does something a little bit different than everybody else. They usually have 3 tiers of radios, usually. So you have the 710, the FT-DX10, and then the 101. Icom has the 7300 and I guess the new 7300 is that middle FT-DX10 style, and then they got the
There's not
76.
much. There's not much different in it.
But there's not much difference between that and the 7300 except for $500 in a HDMI port. Yeah, they finally got that right.
This is just a little bit of the market overview, but I think we've covered all this. We talked about the 3 architectures. The shift towards SDR dominance. Like, you're going to see more and more SDR across the board.
Now we're going to talk about the 991A also, and it has a little bit of software defined in it, but not much. It's not a software defined radio, but you can go into it and change things, which I don't think the 718 you can, right?
The 991 has like the DSP and stuff like that. I don't think the signal processing. I don't think you can get that on the 718. And then we had this new category of field first SDR radios, which would be the Optima. It's portable, multiband coverage, modular. And I think you're going to see more and more radios designed like that moving forward. And then the last thing we had on here was the price versus performance reality. Like Chuck was saying, all these radios are good radios. Like, you wouldn't have a problem with any of them. And once you start getting above $1,000, $1,500, there's really not a whole lot of difference in performance. Like, you wouldn't really notice much difference. Now, if you take like the DX10, is that going to sound different than maybe a more lower end radio? Of course it is. But is it worth a cost increase? And the answer there might be no. Like, I had my 7300, the first Mark I, and I love that radio. Like, I had zero problems with it. I had it for about 5 years, and then I ended up selling it to a buddy because I wanted to fund my 101, and so I needed to get rid of stuff, and so I chose that, and I still like, should I have done that? So like in daily use, would you notice a big difference between the 7300 and the DX10? Maybe not. It might, where the DX10, like if you need really good filtering because you're in a noisy area or something like that, the DX10 might be the one to buy in that case.
Or you're doing
like contesting.
If you're like doing a contest, I would say that's like entry level contest radio, probably.
Yeah, and you're talking about
buy it. Real contest guys aren't going to buy it because except for maybe an extra radio, right?
Yeah, or if you're getting into contest,
right, or 7610.
If you do a bunch of contesting, I'm not talking like once a year you do field day and maybe the state JUSO party.
Right.
That's not really contesting. Like if you participate in a lot of contests and you're starting out with that, then probably the DX10.
Like Tim from DX Engineering.
He's talking about Sherwood.
I tell you what, on the Sherwood thing, Yaesu has led the last couple of years, but I bet you the average person could not tell the difference between number 1 and number 30.
Well, I'm going to get them up the soapbox, but like I've seen people where they like take a radio basically out of the box, make no adjustments to any of the filtering, and they're like, this radio sounds real good. It sounds better than this, and it's like, you're not really doing an objective test. I mean, in order to compare them, you have to compare them in real time with an antenna switch hooked up. And then you have to mess with the filters, right? Because if you're paying, part of the reason you pay the money for some of these radios is for the filtering. And if you're not using the filtering as part of your evaluation criteria, you're really not evaluating how the radio sounds.
And Hollywood's, you just beat me to it. Hollywood's got a good point here because, and we've been preaching this for a while, that the antenna is it's nice to have a good radio, but a great antenna is hard to beat. I mean,
well, that's where people go out and buy a flex, and then they have an end fed that's mounted 6 feet off the ground in their backyard.
Right.
And do whatever you want. We're not shaming anybody, but then in some cases, there's disparity between the quality of the radio and the quality of the antenna.
Right. Like, I have good antennas at my house. I mean, my worst antenna at my house is a 110-foot doublet, and it's good. Depends on the bands, though. For 10, 15, and 20, and 6, and 2 meters. I have Yagis for all those.
So when we talk about this evaluation criteria, receiver performance is primary metric, right? How well does it hear, right? And there's things there on dynamic range, which signal to noise ratio is going to be a big piece of that. Phase noise, strong signal handling, so how well you can notch out or you can filter your passband. Real world usability, and then like you have radios that have roofing filters in them, like the FT-DX10. They maintain performance in crowded band conditions, which is what we were talking about if you're a contester. We talk a little bit about architecture or impact. Direct SDR offers really good waterfall displays and flexibility, but the hybrid SDRs is which the 710 and the Optima use. They improve front end resilience, where you have a mix between super heterodyne and SDR. It's probably my favorite architecture, and they're relatively affordable. The 710 is, if I had to pay for a new radio, which I do because I think all my HF radios I bought, 710 is pretty hard to look in another direction than the 710. I think.
Yeah, I mean, for dollar, it's probably got the most bang.
Yeah, no, I like the Optima better, but the reason I like the Optima better is the antenna ports, the modular design, and the fact that I get Shack in the Box out of it.
Plus, it's like 2 or 3 radios in one, right? Because you have the 100 watts, you have the 10 watt, you have the
but you're talking almost twice the price, right? The Optima is almost twice the cost of the 710.
Yeah, about right out of the out. Yeah, about double.
The signal processing and the noise reduction is a big thing.
I don't think it's quite as good in the Optima as the 710.
Well, the thing is that the noise reduction in my Optima is much better than it is in my 7300. I feel like I can hear better on the Optima versus the 7300, but I did not compare them in the same conditions on the same day, head to head.
Right.
The user interface and workflow efficiency. This is where Chuck and I differ. I think the Icom interface is the creme de la creme. It's much easier.
I think originally it might have been.
Yeah, but I just think that.
But see, I'm used to Yaesus, so Yaesus don't intimidate me. I mean,
the newer Yaesu designs are a lot better. But like when we talk about like the 891. The 891, man.
Well, no, that's a different radio because that's a portable radio. You can't put everything in that. You're never going to find a portable. Even the 705 and the FTX1, even though they're big and a big screen, you still can't put everything on the front panel that you like. My 710 has more stuff on the front panel.
I don't know if Don's being serious or if he's just taking a contrarian opinion. And the 891 is a good radio. We're not saying it's not.
No, it's a great radio. In fact, here's what I talked about earlier. I take that before I buy a 718 because it's newer. It has better noise reduction. It has 6 meters. Neither one of them has a tuner. So you're buying a big in the box radio on the 718 with no tuner. They brought it back. I think they had the same problem as everybody else. They had parts availability problems. So it was gone for a while. It came back. Not saying it's not a good radio. If you guys have one, don't get mad because if it was my money for about the same price, I think the 891 offers more.
Yeah, I mean, I have been on the fence multiple times about buying an 891, and I just never did it. I'm at the point now I wouldn't buy one.
If you talk to me, I like the 857 better than the 891. For the architecture on how you get through the bands and stuff, it's just so much easier to operate. Lousy screen compared to, not as good a screen. And I know Adam, he says the same thing. He had both radios, and we have other YouTubers that argue with us. And it's like, well, I've used both. I had both sitting in my house for like years. It might be, it's just easier for me, but the 857's gone, so we can't talk about that. Although the new 857 is here.
So anyhow, Mike, 31 months of support. Thank you very much.
All right,
it's appreciated. And he says
he's
I'm
a
right.
fanboy. He's an Icom fanboy. That's all right.
So I was an Icom fanboy.
That's why they make both.
Now I've got all Yaesu stuff sitting here. I've always had Yeah, I've had a pretty good mix of both, but I'm more of a tool. The tool is better. So like when you talk about like operating systems, I run Raspberry Pis, I run Linux, I run Mac, I run Windows, and it's just that whatever I need to use to do what I want to do, whether it's computers or whether it's radios, I really look more for the feature set than the brand manufacturer is the way I'm going to say it.
Yeah, and I have a 705. I like it too. I mean,
So when we talk
I
about
like
like
certain
features,
things about it.
my personal opinion is that all these radios should have 2 antenna ports at least. All these radios should have built-in tuners. All
Yeah,
these radios should have sound cards, and all radios should have waterfall displays at this point. I know the waterfall display is a little bit more controversial, like, some people prefer to not have them. I think that they're
mhm.
full of shit. Like, if somebody was gonna give you a radio, you would pick one with a waterfall display. Um,
Well,
I
I
just
can
don't
tell you what.
believe that you wouldn't.
I've got a good friend that when I first talked to him, he was running a FT-DX 1200. It's the one right below the 3000, and he thought certain things about it were better than 3000, but that doesn't matter. He wasn't into screens, but guess what he owns now? An FT-DX10. He has a 101. Guess what he runs all the time though?
The 101,
And it's
right?
because no, he runs this 10 because he likes the amp it's hooked up to. So he
Mm.
runs it. And this guy's got all kinds of amps. So he's kind of like Don with the amps.
So when we looked at 100 watts, $1,500 is around. This is a little more than $1,500, but we were looking at that as around kind of like a general guideline.
Let me look
I
one up.
think Chuck and I both agreed this is the best performing radio, right?
Yeah, it for everything. Yeah,
So if somebody else is paying the bill, that's the one to take. Unless you wanted the shack
it's
in a box out.
1450 right now everywhere.
But it has one of the best receivers, and it has the best receiver in that price range, right? It's the
Yeah,
hybrid SDR architecture. Um, it outperforms in any of the objective testing, all the other radios. The one thing that you could say against it is that it does have that Yaesu menuing system, but if you are experienced with it, it's generally not a problem. It might not be as intuitive the first time. If you're new to HF, and it might not be as intuitive as Icom right out of the box for your first
has a
thing.
bigger
Like I even
screen.
know, yeah, it's got a
The,
great screen.
the
I
screen
noticed it like
is
my
what's that?
101 MP. Like I do have to go into the menu to change things, and I wish I didn't have to. But the 101 MP is nice because it has knobs for everything, right?
Right. This because it's big. It's a big
Yeah,
radio, right? There's room. There's room on the front of that radio to put stuff like my 3000. I mean, when the 7300 come out, you're like, look how easy this is to change the power setting. I push this button, then I push this button, then I turn this knob. I'm like, yeah, I just reach up and turn the knob, dude.
I like the 2D better than the 3D. KT4 REM saying he doesn't like the 3D feature. I
I
don't.
think the guys that use that are the guys that that are like do contesting because it stays longer, right? So you scroll over to it, but I don't use it either. I like the other one better.
I think if you start with that, you might like it better. To me, it looks like I'm playing Tron, and I don't like it. But it's
Yeah,
probably just that it's not what I'm used to, right?
and I'm sure there's ways to set it up that it works better than just out of the box too. I mean, colors, all that stuff.
No,
I
I've
I,
never had this DX10, the DX10, but I wouldn't mind having one.
I think that is a screen's. I think the screen's smaller than your 101, but it's bigger than the 7300 or 710. It's like an inch far wider, maybe, or something like that. Nice size screen.
But this is a radio that I really like. And like I
I do
said, if I
too.
was buying an HF radio, 100 watts, I have a really hard time not picking that one.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have one, Chuck, right? I mean, you love it.
the 710. Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's on my desk. Well, I've got two radios on my desk right now, and I've got the Optima because I've been playing with that. I like it too. Um, like, but I'm with you. I think if I was if they're going to give me a radio in this group of radios that we have here, I think the Optum would be mine too, because it just does more.
But the 710's under $1,000, right?
Yeah, I can.
Chuck's looking it up. He's fact
So
checking.
1500 for the FT-DX10, and right now it's 1,070
for the 710.
Yeah,
is that with the speaker though, or without it?
That's the field. So it's come up a little bit. Remember the whole thing that prices have gone up a little bit.
But it's a great performing radio, and the filtering on it is fantastic.
1,090 with the extras with the AES.
So, Gary's saying that RNL's got it for 1,100 ships.
Yes, RNL usually is a little bit cheaper. They didn't pop up. They don't pop up though. That's the thing, Gary. They don't pop up like everybody else does. I mean, Banggood's selling already for $680, but I don't know if it's any good.
Try recapping the FT-10 or the FT-710 in 40 years. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I think these newer radios aren't going to last as long as the radios of yesteryear.
Tube radios will last forever if you can find the tubes, right?
Yeah. Now, this IC-7300, it's my understanding that is the #1 selling HF radio of all time. Maybe something like the G90 is going to come close to that, but I really, really liked my 7300, and I debated getting the 7300 Mark II, but it's like $1,500, right? And if I just don't think I would spend that much money on one. Like I said, I would go with this if I was buying a new HF rig. The 7300 Mark II does have a couple nice features that I like the HDMI out, but I don't see spending $500 for that.
Does it have multiple ports? I forget.
Antenna ports? I don't think it does.
I think it has. It may have one that you can bring in that doesn't transmit. I think. But
Icoms do have a pretty sweet interface, and like I think the 7300 really set a standard for like, hey, $1,000 100-watt radio with the 3-to-1 tuner in there. I get that it has emergency mode tuner, and built-in sound card, brilliant waterfall display, easy menu system. Really difficult to beat. The 7300 Mark II. I think it has a Ethernet port on it as well. That's pretty nice.
I think it does. That's why Dom got one. Yeah. If you remember right, because he's all about.
They're not going to perform as well as the DX10, though, right?
Well, I know they on the Sherwood. Not that it means everything. It went down from the regular 7300. The receive on it.
Yeah, well, that's probably has to do with that direct SDR architecture too, right? And it doesn't have a roofing filter.
Maybe so the light doesn't come on all the time. Don's light doesn't come on all the time. Maybe that's why. Maybe it was a little too sensitive to start with.
I think he likes when the light comes on because it gives him an opportunity to get upset about something.
It's like he's in the. Oh, why did I have that? I was trying to look up that if it had 2 ports, but for some reason
I don't think it does. I could be mistaken about that.
Wow, shoot. Oh, okay, I'll look here. See if it has pictures. Yeah, there's a picture. Good.
But they're really good radios. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them.
Bigger. Yeah, I was trying to find it on DX Engineering because they
what's up, Rick?
Their pictures are better.
There's a receive port on it. Don wants everybody to know I'm wrong.
See, I thought there was a receive, but it's a receive only, which is cool. That's a good feature. I mean,
here's the thing though. A receive port's only half a port, so it's got 1.5 ports.
Yeah.
So I said it didn't have 2. I probably said it only had 1.
Oh, it's an SMA connector. Yeah. Which I think doesn't the little Hermes have stuff like that too? I mean, $500, guys.
So this is going to be a statement that gets everybody upset at us, Chuck. One of the radios that I really regret never owning is the 7100, the IC-7100.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never buy one now.
Well, what's kind of weird on this, it's so close to 7300 on the screen. I mean, isn't that screen basically the same? Give them a waterfall, and that would be awesome. It doesn't have a tuner either, I don't think. Which, I mean, I do use the tuners on my radios on the desk sometimes, but I have a tuner I go through. And that's another way.
I never use the internal tuners.
I do sometimes just to, like on my Yagis, they go through the tuner, but I don't tune through the tuner. And sometimes at certain ends of the band, I just tune it right on the radio. But other than that, I don't. Well, unless I'm running my amp, then I have to.
What's the 710 cost? I mean, 7100 cost. It's like $1,200 now.
Yeah, and don't be really careful buying I told a friend this once, but he bought it anyhow, an old one, because they're $1,100.
The 7100 is $1,100.
Yeah.
Now, I get mounting it in the car, right? That is something that people are going to say.
And Gary is not an Icom guy. He's bought a few. I know he's kind of like you and me. He'll buy what works for what he wants to do, but he bought one to put in his car because the screen's nice. I mean, I looked at that and this 857 when I bought mine, but I want something more portable. But in the long run, if I was mounting in my truck, the 7100 might be a better deal.
You go 1099. But if I was operating in the shack, I would buy the.
Sorry, I added 5 cents there.
I'd buy the what is it called, the 710 over that. I get that it's not shack. 710's not shack in a box. So another radio that I kind of regret never owning, but I wouldn't buy one now is the 991A.
Now, for me, between those two radios, the 7100 and 991A, it's the 991A. Tuner, better screen, not the greatest screen, but a decent screen. Probably the best first screen that the screen on that's better than my 3000, and they updated my 3000.
It's pretty small too, right? I mean, it fits into that portable category. 991.
The radio,
yeah,
it's the same size. It's about the same size as the 7300 or the 710. It's almost like identical to the 710. That's why I didn't know. That's why I couldn't believe that before the Optima came out, they didn't come out with a 710 with 2 meter and 70 centimeter, because it should fit.
And then
they proved it would fit because they proved, maybe that's why they didn't do it, because now they have the Optima.
Yeah, Rick's making a good point. The 891 mounts nice in vehicles. My buddy's got one in his Jeep, and he's got a great mount. It's actually got a rack at the top, on top of his Jeep, and he's got it up there. The only thing is, it's not shack in a box. No. I'm not an advocate that you have to have shack in a box, so I'm definitely not that guy. But I do think that's probably the big difference between deciding what you're going to mount in a car, because it is nice to have a shack in a box option.
Yeah, and you can take the screen off, so it's like the 7100, whereas you can take the face off, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like the Optima better now, but
I still, right now, if you're looking for a shack in the box, the 991 is probably the best deal, I think.
What are they costing these days?
Here you go. Yeah,
I'm gonna guess around $1,200.
Oh, they've gone up. They're $1,400 now.
Oh wow!
They used to be around $1,000, $1,100. So it looks like the tariff prices have kicked in.
I wouldn't spend $1,400 on that.
No, for now, I would go up to the Optima.
Yeah, for sure.
Better screen. It does more.
It's just cooler. So here's some of the budget and portable radios. I like the 718.
Yeah, it's kind of got that little military look, almost, old school.
Yeah, I think that and the Yaesu 450.
That's a great radio.
Yeah, 450D. I consider those entry-level beginner radios, and people get upset when I say that, because they're like, "Well, what you're doing is you're telling people they gotta spend this much money to get into the hobby," and that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying that there's some simplicity in the designs and the architecture of those radios, um, that make
Yeah,
them
it's not
easier to use, and that's why I
not
say
any.
that.
That's why the price goes up is the bells and whistles,
Right.
and the bells and whistles are something else you need to learn. Now the 891, great little radio, but I'm this is the one this is the Yaesu that I'll agree with people that the menu system is not very good.
Well, the a couple of reasons I didn't buy it is that ABC button on the front of there, and then my 817 had that ABC button, which just makes the
Mhm.
each menu setting it just complex. It makes the menu seem more complex than I guess it needs to be.
Well, that's your quick stuff,
Yeah, yeah, and,
and you
and
can
I
set
just
them, and you can set them if you want to.
so that's one reason I didn't get it, and then the other reason I didn't get it is that it doesn't have a tuner in there, and I just said that I don't need a tuner, but it would be nice to have like a 3-to-1 on there to touch up like an end-fed half wave if you're operating portable. Maybe you're using more of the band and your SWR curve. You might need to just touch it up a little bit. It doesn't have a built-in sound card, and that's the biggest problem for me because I like to do digital stuff. So um, I feel that I would be buying that radio, but adding these other components to it, like a digi rig, it's another $100, right? And I felt like
Mhm.
by the time I was done getting a tuner and a
Well,
sound
that'd be
card,
the
then
same.
spend all this money.
So I did a video a long time ago about like a good radio for people that were techs and new hams and stuff, and I didn't include the 718. My reasoning for it was that it doesn't do 6 meters, and 6 meters is a band that techs can use. So yeah, if you and it was about this, I think at the time the 450 might have still been around. The 450 included the internal tuner, and they were about the same price.
Here we go.
Oh,
Temecula Dave saying no tuner needed.
oh man, I think that's a shot across your bow. I really do. Yeah, but you need a an antenna analyzer to tune that because they don't come tuned from the factory
Right.
or your radio. You can use your radio too.
Um,
And if you
both
like
of these
that
are
little
good.
piece, you like that little piece of band. The band is great.
Both of these are good radios, and I wouldn't mind having either one of them. But
Yeah.
like I said, if I was buying a radio, neither one of these would be on my list. Now, I almost bought a 718 at Dayton last year.
Did you?
Yeah, it
It's a
was
cool
pretty sweet,
radio. I like it. I
and
just don't need. I just
I
don't
d
need
I don't
another
need
radio.
another radio on the desk, but I thought it would look cool in there, but, um, I I just don't think I would do it.
You're done. You're done, man.
But, like,
Talking
if you're
about
just
getting
like a
sticks.
if you're a single sideband operator, right, and you're doing portable, both these are good choices, especially the 891, right?
Oh yeah. That's it's probably of all the radios you can buy right now, probably the best portable. I mean, 100-watt portable radio, I should say. You
Yeah.
got to stress that because somebody, well, my KX2 is way smaller and lighter. Yeah, but it does 10 watts. 11. I think it's 12 if you put an extra battery on it. That's extra 2
There
watts.
you go. That'll be the last radio you need to buy. I think James is talking about this 718.
I mean, like Ape and I said, it doesn't have a tuner, but I don't really use my internal tuner that much anyhow. So, and when you buy a decent, well, most tuners will give you at least 2 ports. So now you have your 2 ports. The difference for me was I run a couple Yagis that don't need to be tuned. And I didn't, and that's why I like the extra ports on my 3000 because I ran those into those extra ports. They didn't go through my tuner. They didn't need to be.
We got a couple comments here. So Lodi is saying, if you were building an HF WinLink gateway, which HF radio would you choose? She's leaning towards the IC-7300 Mark I. It's solid and good enough. It absolutely is. And if you have a good line on one, especially a used one, where you can save you some
Oh,
bucks,
yeah, the Mark one.
I would definitely do that. If I was buying new, I'd go with the 710 over the 7300. Just my personal opinion on that one.
Now does the 7300, the new one probably does, but does the old one work like the 705 where you can hook it up to your iPad or your iPhone?
No.
That is kind of a cool feature. It's a feature I've never used on my 705, but it is kind of a cool feature.
Oh no, I love it.
Is that Wi-Fi or Bluetooth?
Yeah, well, you can do it over. I do it over Wi-Fi. Some says he doesn't buy a radio because it looks cool on your desk. He buys it for what it does and how it sounds, and that's why you're not a real ham.
Well, he did. He was. But you got that radio now.
I do.
Messing with thumb.
Let's see what else we got here.
Mike says it's a great one for Elodia. What was that?
Yeah, I mean the 7300 is going to work fine for that. It would work great for that. I just think that I like the 710 better as a radio. Is why I would say that. But either one should be fine.
We're gonna go back to Don's comment here because he's talking smack here. He's talking about his KX3 with his XPA 100. He gets 100. Yeah, throw that in your backpack, Don. Now you're heavier, guaranteed. Because I know that the XPA 100 is heavy.
Yeah, and he's saying you can use SDR control on the old 7300. You can over the USB, which is slower than dog crap. It's not a very elegant solution.
I think that if you're going to do that kind of stuff, the newer one's better, right?
Mm-hmm. And Mike is right. You can do it over the. You have to use the Ethernet port on the Mark II, and then you can use SDR control. And SDR control is great. It's what I use for my 705, and I love that.
But if you're not an iPhone user or iPad person, you're out of luck. It doesn't work.
And here we go with the old, but it works, but it doesn't work well. Yeah. So like I'm one of these persons that I like to remove as much friction as I can, right? And so if something doesn't work well, then I don't want to.
It's like that happy wife, happy life thing.
Yes.
Get rid of friction.
Yes. So direct comparison.
I want to know if Elodi's, have you built your antennas yet?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
So we have the price versus capability spectrum. So I think ranges from $600 for around the 718 to 891, around 15 for the DX10 Mark II. But
what is the 718 now? See, our list is old because it's 860 now. On sale.
On sale.
For 860, well, the other one went up too. The 710 went up too. So
how much is the 891 now?
I have to look it up. It may have gone up too. $730. So to me, that's a better deal. You get more. But if you want something that looks good on your desk, I mean the 718 is it's more of a desk radio.
Yeah. Then we have the architectural difference that we talked about. I think that in general, most people won't notice a difference off of what that they're using. But the architectural difference does impact some of the feature sets. Like SDR has generally better DSP on it, and it does reduce the cost a little bit. I like the 710. The guy I keep saying the DX10 is nice, but I don't know if I would spend all the money on it.
I was giving her a bad time. She's got a couple of her antennas to build.
Well, if you need any help with them,
yeah, you know where to go. I mean, make sure you come to us for it because we're the ones that actually know the antennas.
Yeah, just develop them. Just let us know.
And then Gary, he's more old school. He doesn't like touch screens. Bad thing about touch screens is your fingerprints get all over them.
He probably still uses a flip phone too.
I won't answer that one. I may or may not know. I know you'll get it done.
What's he saying here? You boys should mention that there will be deals at all the ham outlets when Dayton starts. There are a few that start today. Oh,
I have,
we should mention this, Chuck.
yeah, we should mention this. So I've never noticed any great deals, but I did buy my 991A at Dayton. I did get $50 off. The cool thing about it, if you're flying in or something like that, if you buy it there, just have it sent home.
I did buy my 500 there, my Yaesu 500, but
I did too.
when I bought mine, though, I bought it. What's that? Yeah, I got it from Arnell, but I bought it online. So because I didn't first off, the line to buy them was a country mile long, and I didn't want to stand in that line, so I just went to the website, and they had the same deal on the website. I think I had to pay a couple bucks more for shipping. I can't remember, but it was definitely easier that way.
Lodi's already got good radios,
but I think it was in Florida. I think I bought it in Orlando.
She's like us. She just wants to keep collecting.
Yeah. Well,
why can't you use your FT-DX10 for what you're doing?
Well, she wants it to be, if she's going to use it as a WinLink server, it's got to be dedicated.
Oh, I got you. See, I'm not a computer person. I see what you're saying. Yaesu,
yeah.
Well, actually, Yaesu International or USA got on my video and said something about that you can use the Optima as one of those. I can use your radio sometimes as a gateway or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do that. I want to use the radio.
And then,
there's Don. I didn't say she couldn't.
So Don's getting rid of his 7300 and his 705.
Yeah. We won't tell you why yet.
He
unless it happens.
He is that's all he does is trade radios in and out.
Yeah, I mean, he found stuff for me this morning.
You're fully up to date on the firmware, right?
I am not. I'm 2 behind. My radio was 1 behind when I got it. Now it's 2 behind, and I know a lot. I know. Chris did all his stuff, and it looks like it works really good now. One of those things.
He's saying that's expensive for WinLink RMS. I agree. That's why I would go. I'd go with the 710.
Yeah, I don't do the WinLink stuff anyhow. So,
so based off the list, I mean, the use case alignment, right? Like the DX10 is the best receive radio. It's got the best filtering, and so if you're operating on crowded bands,
according to the list,
if you're crowded bands and you're emerging contester, the DX10 is the radio that I would pick.
Now I've heard that the Sherwood test doesn't mean the Icom fanboys don't like the Sherwood test anymore because they're not on top anymore. So
right.
So use that as you will.
The 710 is probably the best, like Chuck was calling it, the dollar for watt radio.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot more than a 718, or and it packs way more.
Yes, I mean that's what I would be leaning towards if I was buying a new HF station and I didn't have a radio. 7300 for usability. I still think that there's an experience difference there. If I wanted all band, FTX1, I put 991 on here, but the Optima to me is like that next generation thinking in radio, and I think
when the 991 was around $1,100, that was a good deal.
Sure.
Now that it's gone up in price, it's like save a couple more months maybe. I know, but there's a lot of hate for the Optima because of it didn't do everything right out of the box. They brought so many things to the market at one time. I think they overextended maybe what they were doing.
Well, here's the thing, man.
But now
people
it's
were
like
getting so
everything works.
upset. They were getting so upset because it hadn't been released yet. And you have to remember the whole Optima was a secret. It was just the field, right? The FTX1.
Right.
And then they dropped the Optima at the same time. And there was, as much as people want to pretend that they don't need to get the FCC ID certification, It did, and that was a little bit of an issue in the release. Now, granted, I will 100% say Yaesu could have done a better job with Q&A on the firmware.
Yeah.
But that's pretty common in amateur radio, right? Like,
The
people
705 had a bunch of problems when it came out too.
look at the
Not as many.
6100 and the 5100.
Oh my god. And you never
I
know if
mean,
those are gonna get fixed,
like
right?
40 some firmware releases.
In the first year.
And I know a lot of them weren't official firmware releases, but and people were calling it it's so funny. They were like the 5100 is the 705 killer. Was it really?
Was it the 5100 or the 6100?
6100 probably.
I almost bought a 51. I was looking at the KX2 and the 5100 and I almost bought it, but I figured if I ever needed to sell it, I knew I could sell the KX2 for now close to what I paid for it because they've gone up also.
Like 5 years ago, people were talking about those Elecrafts all the time, and now they don't talk about them as much.
The soda guys do.
See, Rick. Well, they're very niche now, right? Like I agree with you. There's like a cult following for them.
Oh yeah,
I like them. I don't have any problem with them, but I don't think I'd get one.
I used to really nice.
Getting one, but
the K4 is really nice, and that was the first radio that had HDMI. And what's cool about that radio, that's not on here because it doesn't hit our price criteria. That one when you put the up on the screen on like a monitor or something, you can actually do separate. I think you can. Most of them, it just mirrors what's on the radio.
Right.
But the K4, I'm pretty sure you can do different things on that and have the radio.
Yeah, they're way ahead of the game with that radio.
It's still taking forever to get them out there, but
Jimmy's saying he doesn't think all the latest grief with Yaesu is because of the FTX1. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't follow much of that drama, the YouTube drama around Yaesu anymore because it's just so tiring. Like, I think some people were upset because the 500 and then the 510 came out. 510 has that button on there that you can
really
press.
Works.
It does. And I think that some folks are still mad about the 400, the FTM 400 not being available. But it's like, hams are always saying how the hobby stagnated and there's not innovation in radio. And then when a company puts out new radios with innovation, people get upset about it. So I just quite don't understand all of that.
Right.
And then there's this like fake thing where they're like, you can't even talk to people at Yaesu about getting your radio fixed. And that's not true. They have one of the best.
Get a real person when you call there. You get a real person.
And they also have some of the best online support communities, like on their Facebook and stuff like that, of any radio manufacturer. It's like it's completely made up. The Yaesu website sucks. All of their websites suck.
I don't know what's so much different about Yaesu's than Icom's.
Enlighten me,
Ron.
Here's what, and I'm going to start to get upset. Here's one thing that drives me crazy. I hate that there's an operating and then like there's two different manuals. Like I want just one effing manual. Like when you go to Yaesu and you go to Icom, every radio's got like 4 manuals, and I hate that.
Well, doesn't the 705 have a secret manual or something?
There's like they have the
there's a manual and then there's a manual. Another manual.
There's so like some of them will have like a marketing flyer, then they'll have a quick start, then they'll have the operations manual, and then they have the advanced manual. So that's 4 right there. And then they have the service manuals. I get the service manual being a separate document, but I hate having to look in 2 different manuals.
Ron says it's almost as bad as the HRO site, and I will have to agree on the HRO site.
HRO site's terrible.
Yeah,
and even big parts.
They're based right here, the place where all the computers that like Apple and that stuff came up. I can't believe they can't do better.
The DX Engineering has a pretty nice.
It's the easiest, I think,
website, but it's not a manufacturer's website. And then even like like Zygu doesn't even have a website.
Yeah,
it drives me crazy.
What I don't like is if you want to compare radios, and maybe they do this, maybe Icom, Yaesu, and Kenwood all get together and say, okay, you guys list this, we'll list that, and you guys do that over there. You can't, it's hard to compare things because they list everything differently. I was trying to look up, I had a comment on the FTX1 and the 705 where the guy said the 705 draws way less power. Well, when you look at it, it's like, was like 0.1 or 0.01 difference, virtually different, not different.
It's so much bullshit, Chuck, because people say,
But it's hard to,
well, like, how dim do you have the screen? And do you have the Wi-Fi on? Oh, do you have the GPS powered up? Like there's like a million different variables that go into power draw. And the same people are running off the 5-watt radio off a 100 amp hour lithium ion battery. You know what I mean? Like, now I get that there's some people where it's a legitimate concern as to how much draw you put on your radio, but I think in most cases it's total BS.
I don't worry about batteries when I go out. I have plenty of battery for that I'm going to go out. I mean, I don't really ever. I mean, that is a thing. You got that guy up in we're Antarctica or something. Everything's about that. And I'm like, I could care less.
Well, I mean, maybe that's like
my battery's
going
to handle what I want to do
for some people, but most hams I know, it's not.
They're going to the park, or you're going out to do POTA. I mean,
well, we got Chris. He's a Zygu fanboy.
Oh.
I like the G90 a lot. The Zygu's got like 10 people in their office are busy doing radios. They want radios or a website. I would say you have a point if the radios were world class. That's my point there.
I know when I've called Yaesu, I've gotten a hold of a real person, usually the secretary, and then she patches me to the guy in charge, and I've gotten to know all those guys. I know some of the guys from Icom also, and they're helpful. In fact, if you go, I know for a fact people are having problems with like settings and stuff for FT8 and stuff like that. Talk to the guys at the. I know the guys at the Yaesu. There's a guy there. I think he's from New Zealand. He will tell you exactly how to set he'll email you all the settings that he suggests. I'm sure Icom has the same thing with their guys. I mean, now that radios, they usually have an FTX or FT8 setting, but I don't know. I don't do FT8 much. So
this is our last slide. I think that really the moral of the story is that just pick the radio that fits your criteria best.
Yeah. Which one do you like the best? Go to your ham radio outlet. I don't know. I know they have a lot of places. Gigaparts has 2, maybe. If you're close to one of those places, I don't know about DX Engineering. I think they have one in Ohio. I don't know how many stores they have, but if you guys have a place to go play with them. Yeah, listen to the guy there. I mean, if you go to the HRO in Sacramento, he's going to sell you a Yaesu. I'm pretty sure. That's my buddy up there. He's pretty cool. He knows his stuff, though.
You can put your hands on all the stuff.
Or go to Dayton. Or go to Hampshire. Well, not the.
That's not easy.
There's so many people around. Yeah, it's not so many. I mean, I think Flex puts out one of the nicest looking showrooms up there at Dayton.
So if somebody was going to give me a radio, I'd take the DX10 or the Optima. If I was buying a radio, I'd get to probably the Mark II or the 710 is the way I would go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're all good radios. It's all on what you're used to and what you like the looks of. I think the screens on the Icoms are really nice.
Yeah, they're like, I wouldn't complain about any of these radios if I had one,
Right.
I'll probably complain about
they're all good.
But outside of those two, I don't think I complain.
Yeah, Dave says Gigaparts used to have a Vegas. I don't know if they still do or not.
It's in Huntsville, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, but they had one in Vegas for a while. I don't know if it's still there or not. HRO has the most, I think. They're like the biggest. And usually the HROs that I've been to are not very big inside, but they do have most of the main radios set up.
And some of those HROs,
and you can use them.
or pretty low rent.
Yeah, they're trying to keep costs down, man. Gotta make that buck. It's like us.
Like it feels like you're in a flea market, even in the HRO. But
Yep. I gotta mail a couple of antennas out today. New ones.
Ron's saying, okay, what about if money is no object setup?
Anon.
Get something like an Anon or what is that? The 7860 that Icom is like.
Icom. No,
I really like that flex, that 500 watt flex that they have out. What is that thing called?
Yeah, that's kind of an all-in-oneer there. I mean, you don't have to do anything.
And
I do hear that Flex is a little easier to set up than Anon or Hermes and stuff. It's more user friendly. And then if you guys are good with computer stuff,
yeah, 101 MP is a pretty sweet radio.
Now, that's
Lee says he would get the 7300 Mark II over the DX10, the DX10 today.
I wouldn't, but that's me.
There we go. The Flex Aurora. Yeah, Flex Aurora. Yeah, the Aurora. And the Aurora is actually pretty cool. Moderately priced for what you're getting.
Yeah, you're getting a 500 watt amp, right?
Yeah, that Elecraft K4. Now, there's like 6 versions of that thing, so you'd have to go through and figure out which one. But
well, that's what I was going to say about the if you buy the MP101, that has almost everything already included. So when you look at the price of what it costs, but you take a regular 101 that does 100 watts and add all the different filters that one comes with, there's not much difference in price. So if you're looking for a radio with all the stuff, the MP has most of it already installed, plus the 200 watts. 200 watts to me means I might hurt my amp because every once in a while I forget to turn it down.
Well, the 200 watts isn't really 200 watts though. Like they say that they go in digital, you should only be doing 100 watts and stuff like that.
Don says 7,000. I think he's talking about that Flex.
He said, Dave's saying that the remote interface. Oh, that's not him. Here it is. Ron's saying the remote interface is trash. They have the software for the DX for the 101 MP, and if you use the whatever this box is called, the network remote control system, it's just this. It's exactly the same as the radio. So I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, if you want to hook up to your iPad, the Icom's way to go. I don't really do that, but I have to try it someday. But you have to buy that also, and I just probably not going to keep something. May not have.
Here's what I meant to do. This is what I meant to do. This is where we're going to be at Dayton. We started the show with it.
That 5th white car down there in the corner.
Oh, I forgot to mention our Discord server.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you guys are buying any of our antennas, make sure you're part of our Discord. So if you have any questions, we can help you. Unlike other companies that sell you stuff that you might get an operator, maybe if you're lucky.
Over on the Discord server,
videos.
I'm sure we'll be continuing this conversation, but also if you have any questions about any of our antennas or any of that stuff, that's the place to come over and ask.
Yeah, we've been able to fix quite a few antennas for the people. Just
like saying he can smell the bourbon chicken. I'm probably going to get a pork chop when I'm there, even though I say the boycott the pork chop guy at this point.
Oh, I gotta bring my shirt though. I'm gonna bring my shirt though.
Yeah, I got to see if I can find mine,
and I'll buy one right in front of him. See if he notices. Well, it's the lady and she was kind of. It was all business, I guess.
There we go. The Miller Lite stand is right down that aisle. I tried to get the lady to pour some vodka in my lemonade when I got it last year, but she said she couldn't do that. The gyro. That's what I want to get, the gyro.
Yeah, you guys liked. I didn't have that last year. You guys got that.
I'm looking forward to it.
I will actually. I'm going to put a video out just prior to Dayton. I will also put the map on there in the video. That's something I'm going to add to it. But I'm going to show all the different things that we are actually bringing. We're debuting a few things. I don't think we've even talked about one of the things, and that'll be a secret for actually at Dayton. We're going to be just like Yaesu and Icom. We're going to debut something you guys don't know anything about.
Right. So swing by.
So, and we're going to have a few of those available. I think about 20. So make sure you swing by and check it out. It's nothing huge, but it looks cool. And then Don wants the Chucky Hex. But you know what, Don? I'm focusing on the Moxon right now. We may actually bring that out. Who knows? I know, the 2-meter cubicle quad. I know. Oh, that thing's just, I have to redo that one, Don. Sorry.
Cold hard cash.
Yep. Cash. Cash is your friend.
All right. We got anything else we wanted to cover here, Chuck?
I think that's it, man. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And
yes, much appreciated.
Hope to see most of you guys out there at Dayton. So we're almost there.
I'm going to go ahead and hit the button.
All right. 73 all.